What's up, YouTube? This is Vicente Gonzalez back with another Stardom Sit-em. It's semifinals, finals, playoff time, so stress is high, so let's get right to it. This is week 15. At quarterback, I say start Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Case Keenum, Blake Bortles, and sit Jimmy Garoppolo, Alex Smith, Derek Carr, Joe Flacco, and Nick Foles. Now, Big Ben has been hot, and he's going against the kind of a not that good New England Patriots defense, so I think that's good. Aaron Rodgers is back. I'm very excited about that, actually. That elevates that whole offense, and normally I would say wait and not start him yet, see how good he kind of does, especially against the Carolina defense. But you know what? If you held on to him for this long or picked him up, dropped somebody to keep him on your roster just for this playoff situation, you need to start him. So go ahead and start him. Dak Prescott's been doing good, so keep him rolling. He's on the streak. Case Keenum kind of had an off week last week. He still produced okay, but they lost. But he should still be the starter. If they don't have him the starter, that's dumb. And he's going against not the best Cincinnati defense, so keep him rolling. And Blake Bortles has been super hot with D.D. Westbrook and the other receiver guy. I don't remember his name. So keep him rolling. Jimmy Garoppolo, I say don't start him because Tennessee's defense is kind of good. And even though they've been winning with him, he's only thrown one touchdown. So that's not a good start. Alex Smith has been sucking lately. I wouldn't keep him in there, especially against the Chargers. They're really good. Derek Carr is going against Dallas, and they usually start off really good defense. So I don't trust Derek Carr. Same with Joe Flacco. Cleveland just can kind of sneak up on you. I don't trust Joe Flacco this week. And Nick Foles, this will be the week he would do good against New York, but we don't know how well he's going to throw. So I would just not keep him in the equation. At running back, I say start Alvin Kamara, assuming he's healthy, Devontae Freeman, Kenyon Drake, Alex Collins, and the Philly running backs, and sit Aaron Jones, Browns running backs, Rod Smith, Samaje Perine, and Lamar Miller. Alvin Kamara, if he's back from his concussion, you know the kind of player he can be. You got to start him. Just keep in mind his health. With Tevin Coleman out, Devontae Freeman becomes solely the number one guy, besides maybe a little bit of Teron Ward here and there. But Devontae Freeman looks good. Keep him going. And Kenyon Drake, you saw how he blew up New England. Keep him going. Alex Collins did a great job against a very good Pittsburgh defense. Got to keep him rolling. And the Philly running backs. So I say start the Philly running backs because they're going to be needed to relieve some of the pressure off Nick Foles being in his first start. So I think they're actually kind of a good play. Aaron Jones is a no-go because I think y'all can see now that Jamal Williams is the number one guy there. Aaron Rodgers may work better with Aaron Jones. I don't know. Don't play with it. Aaron Jones is a no-go. Browns running backs, I don't like them because they're going against the Baltimore D, and the Baltimore D is actually kind of good. Rod Smith. Okay, so Alfred Morris and Rod Smith are both boom or bust, but Alfred Morris is the better one. He's going to get the volume. Rod Smith, maybe not so much. He had a good week last week, but if you picked him up because you saw that high point total, I wouldn't start him. Samaje Perine's hurt going against good Arizona defense, and Lamar Miller, he's volume. He gets a lot of touches, but against Jacksonville and with their third string quarterback in, it's not a good decision. At wide receiver, I say start Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, Des Bryant, Golden Tate, Devin Funchess, Alshon Jeffrey, and D.D. Westbrook, and sit the Jets receivers, Emmanuel Sanders, Randall Cobb, Nelson Aguilar, and Chris Hogan. Devontae Adams has always been the start. But Jordy's back now with Aaron Rodgers in the game. That's his favorite target. I expect him to immediately become relevant again. And Des Bryant has been doing really well as of late with Dak Prescott finally finding his groove. Keep him going. Golden Tate kind of took over that number one role again from Marvin Jones the past 2 weeks at least. I think he's the hot hand right now and keep riding that. And Devin Funchess did it last week against Xavier Rhodes, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. If he can do it against Xavier Rhodes, then he can do it against Green Bay's not so good defense. So I like Devin Funchess. Plus Cam just throws to him all the time. Alshon Jeffrey is the number one target. Nick Foles has to look his way, I think. He's the only receiver that's safe this week. And D.D. Westbrook, that's a kind of a high-risk choice, but I'm throwing him in there as a flyer because he's been trending upwards. He's doing really well, and Dak Prescott. Blake Bortles throws his way. I think he could be an explosive player, especially against Houston, who's shown they can't defend against the pass. The New York Jets receivers are gone now. Robbie Anderson, all of them, because Josh McCown is not there. It's Bryce Petty, and you don't trust that guy. Emmanuel Sanders isn't a PPR monster like he used to be anymore. He doesn't get his looks. Even with Trevor Siemian in playing, it's just not a good situation for him. It's kind of sad to see him go, especially when I drafted him in the 5th or 6th round. Terrible. Randall Cobb is the only receiver not benefiting too much from Aaron Rodgers coming back. Now, he's definitely going to get worked back in again, but I don't think he's going to see the same benefit that these two are. Nelson Aguilar, he's just the risky one. He's been doing really well with Carson lately, but with Nick Foles, we don't know. So I won't play him. And Chris Hogan came back last week and actually got quite a few looks from what I saw. But at the same time, he looked rusty, and I don't trust him this week. Tight ends, I say start Jimmy Graham, Jason Witten, Jack Doyle, Hunter Henry, and Evan Ingram, and sit Steven Anderson, Austin Sperry-Jenkins, Jesse James, Cameron Braden, and Eric Ebron. Jimmy Graham disappointed a lot of people last week. He got a goose egg, man. 0 points, and that probably killed so many playoff fantasy owners. If you made it past last week with him, I say start him because Russell Wilson is just a maniac, and he's going against the LA Rams, who I believe have allowed a lot of points to tight ends. Not sure on that. Point is, it's Jimmy Graham. This is the week. He'd come back this week. Jason Witten has been doing really well with Dak Prescott. Like, he's been catching those touchdowns, and that's what you want, especially in a standard scoring league. So keep him going. Jack Doyle is the number 1 receiver in Indy. He's Jacoby Brissett's safety blanket. You have to go with him. Hunter Henry's been hot. He's been getting all the end zone looks over there for Chargers, and they're going against the not so good Kansas City Chiefs. That's a good start. And Evan Ingram, he's like the only good receiver for New York. They have to throw to somebody. I think it's going to be him. He's going to get a few good looks this week. Sit him. I said that Steven Anderson was going to be a risk last week, and I was right. He had a really good 2 weeks, a good matchup or a good game 2 weeks ago, and now last week he came back down there. Not so good. And if he can't do it last week, he's definitely not going to do it against Jacksonville. Austin Sperry-Jenkins is gone because it's Bryce Petty. Don't trust Bryce Petty. Jesse James had a lot of looks last week, but I don't expect that to be like a trend. He had 12 receptions last week, or 12 targets. I wanted those too, and it's just not a common occurrence for him, so don't expect that to be a trend. Cameron Brate is just a boomer bust guy. If you have to rely on him, like if that's your only option, sure, but I would look elsewhere if you can. And Eric Ebron, he's also been trending in the right direction, but you just cannot trust him, especially with the fantasy playoffs on the line. At defense, I say start the Jacksonville Jaguars, Baltimore Ravens, LA Chargers, Minnesota Vikings, and the Denver Broncos, and sit the New York Jets, Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, Houston Texans, and New York Giants. They're all just matchup plays. You can see it. The Jacksonville Jaguars is just the hottest defense in the NFL. They're like the number 1 scoring defense. They're up there, and they're going against Houston, who has a 3rd-string quarterback in. That's just a beautiful matchup. Baltimore Ravens are going against the Browns. It's a beautiful matchup. The Chargers are hot, and they're going against the struggling Chiefs. It's a great matchup. You see where I'm going with this? Great matchups, not so good matchups. That's it. In conclusion, it's at least the semifinals of most of y'all's playoffs, so here's just some news you should know. Like I said earlier, Aaron Rodgers is back. Throw him out there. You picked him up. You've been holding on to him. Let him go. And I've enjoyed it because I think Joy is going to have a good week this week for the first time in a very long time. And also, Carson Wentz tore his ACL, which is terrible. You get that same feeling like when Deshaun Watson tore his ACL. It's just, that was such a big thing in the NFL. They were so exciting to watch. Now they're gone. It's terrible. But anyways, you downgrade pretty much everybody in that Eagles offense except for Alshon Jeffrey. I think the running backs might get a little more involved. Foles can throw, I think. He did really good back in like 2014. And then he got that big contract and did nothing with it. So, the ability's there. It just depends on if he's hot. So it'll be fun to watch. If he can do it, he'll do it against New York. Just wait and see. There's not much time left anyway. So that's it for that. Really quick, I just wanted to say that there's only like 2 more weeks in the NFL fantasy season left, and that's at most. And my channel's not going away. So I'm going to try to transition it into maybe a sports channel. I'm going to take a few weeks off and try to go that direction. Just don't leave me. I'm going to try to make it entertaining for y'all. So anyways, good luck in the fantasy playoffs. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week.